Greetings. In this video we explain the legislated timeframes for undertaking and completing a basic assessment and environmental impact assessment so that you can incorporate these times into the planning phase of your project and avoid unnecessarily delaying construction. Welcome. My name is Sean McGregor of Ecoleges Environmental Consultants based in Mpumalanga, South Africa. And we're on a mission to empower all South Africans to protect their environment through the correct interpretation and application of our environmental legislation. So if you want to learn how our environmental law applies to you and avoid accidentally triggering a illicit activity or water use without the required authorization, and so too then avoid potential prosecution and penalties, or if you simply want to increase the internal capacity of your company by increasing the knowledge and skills of your staff to make environmentally responsible decisions without having to rely solely on external consultants, then you'll want to subscribe to this channel. You can swipe over the logo to the bottom right hand side of your screen. Don't forget to click on the bell notification icon so that you can be notified the moment we upload a new video. And if you do benefit from or know of anyone who can benefit from these videos, please like them. We sincerely appreciate the support in helping to spread the message. Thank you. So let's get started. The title of this video is How Long to Get an Authorization. It's worth noting that we're using the amended EIA regulations of 2014, and I have included a link to the department's flowcharts for a basic assessment and environmental impact assessment in the description below. We are going to start with a basic assessment. Now the whole process is officially kicked off, or the timer starts ticking, the moment the competent authority has received the application form. It actually starts at the beginning of the next day. Let me read some of these conditions to you. When a period of days must, in terms of the regulations, be reckoned from or after a particular day, that period must be reckoned as from the start of the day following that particular day to the end of the last day of the period. But if the last day of the period falls on a Saturday, Sunday, or public holiday, that period must be extended to the end of the next day, which is not a Saturday, Sunday, or public holiday. Then the period of the 15th of December to the 5th of January must be excluded in the reckoning of days, and where a prescribed time frame is affected by one or more public holidays, the time frame must be extended by the number of public holidays falling within that time frame. After submitting the application form, the Environmental Assessment Practitioner, or EP, then has 90 days to submit the final basic assessment report. Included in those 90 days is a 30-day comment period where all potential and registered interested and affected parties, including the competent authority, are given the opportunity to submit comments on the draft report. Those comments must then be incorporated into the final report, so the EP effectively has less than 60 days to complete the report. Once the competent authority has received the final basic assessment report, they must then reach a decision within 107 days. They actually have another 5 days to inform the applicant of the decision, but it's not included in the reckoning of days. People often then assume or calculate the total time period or time frame for a basic assessment to be 197 days, but it actually doesn't end there. The EP must inform all registered, interested and affected parties of the decision within 14 days. That is within 14 days of the date of the decision. Those registered, interested and affected parties then have 20 days, not from the date of the decision, but from the date of being notified to appeal. So development should only commence after this period for the submission of appeals has lapsed, and assuming there are no appeals. The total time frame realistically then would be 231 days or slightly less, depending on how long it took the INAP to notify registered, interested and affected parties of the decision. In conclusion, the time taken from the date of submitting the application form until the date when construction can commence is not 197 days, but more realistically up to 231 days. And in fact, because the environmental assessment practitioner has fewer than 60 days to complete the basic assessment report, many EAPs, including us, actually start the process earlier, that is before submitting the application form. And so in reality, the whole BA process can take up to 9 months from the date of appointing an environmental assessment practitioner. It is also worth noting under Regulation 19B that it is possible to extend the submission deadline, that would be the date on which one needs to submit the final basic assessment report, by 50 days under certain circumstances, in which case then the whole basic assessment process will be extended by 50 days. Now I'm going to explain the time frame for undertaking and completing an environmental impact assessment or an EIA. Again, the whole process is kicked off upon submission of the application form to the competent authority. And it doesn't start when the competent authority acknowledges receipt of the application form. It actually starts on the date it is received. Then the environmental assessment practitioner, or EAP, has 44 days to submit the final scoping report. And included in those 44 days is another 30-day comment period where all potential and registered, interested and affected parties, including the competent authority, get 30 days to submit comments on the draft scoping report. Those comments must then be incorporated into the final scoping report. So the EAP, again, effectively only has less than 14 days to complete that scoping report. Upon receiving the final scoping report, the competent authority then has to accept or reject it within 43 days. Upon accepting the final scoping report, the environmental assessment practitioner must complete the final environmental impact assessment report within 106 days, and included within those 106 days is another 30-day comment period. Upon receiving the final basic assessment report, the competent authority must reach a decision, that is to grant or refuse authorization within 107 days. And they have another 5 days to actually inform the applicant of the decision. But again, that's not really calculated into the reckoning of days. So that is 300 days. But remember, it doesn't end there. The environmental assessment practitioner, or EAP, must then inform all registered and interested and affected parties of the decision within 14 days of the date of that decision. registered, interested and effective parties then have another 20 days, not from the date of the decision, but from the date of being notified, to submit an appeal. In conclusion, the whole time frame taken to complete an environmental impact assessment from the date of submitting the application form until the date of commencing with construction is in reality not 300 days, but up to 334 days. So remember, the applicant or developer needs to allow for that period of submission for appeals before commencing with construction. And again, because of those tight time frames allocated to the EAPs to complete the scoping and environmental impact assessment reports, at least we start the process earlier, that is before submitting the application form. So it can take 12 months to complete an environmental impact assessment from the date of appointing the environmental assessment practitioner. And then similar to the process for a BA, it is also possible to extend the submission deadline by an additional 50 days, and so too then the whole process in terms of Regulation 23(2). Ladies and gentlemen, that was it. I hope it was helpful, and thank you so much for watching. If you have joined the MP or Incorsi tiers of our membership program, then you will receive an additional video that actually explains the time frame for completing a water use license application. If you aren't a member yet, then check out our membership program on Patreon. Otherwise, if you're simply looking for a consultant to help you with a once-off project, then you're welcome to visit our website. And check out our previous video. We explained what the edge of a watercourse is. And in another video, we actually looked at the legislation prohibiting one from disturbing threatened or protected species without a permit or license. In our next video, we look at the legislation compelling one to destroy certain species growing on your property, specifically alien invasive species. Otherwise, subscribe, click on the bell notification icon, and please, if you did benefit from the video or you know of someone who can, then like it. Thank you so much for your support. Keep strong, and God bless.